Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're diving into something I find pretty exciting, actually, the world of urban travel, specifically electric scooters.
That's right. We're looking at how they're really starting to challenge and sometimes, honestly, just flat out beating the traditional petrol models.
And we're focusing on a particular high performer, the Australian-made Fonz Arthur Z Series.
hmm We've gone through, all the road tests, the cost breakdowns, the tech specs, basically trying to answer that key question for you. Can an e-scooter like this really replace a petrol one for city life?
Exactly. That's the mission today. We'll compare the total cost, the actual performance you feel, and, the day-to-day practicality. Is it a real alternative?
That's a big question.
For me personally, especially in summer, there's just nothing better than getting around on a scooter, feeling the wind. And the idea of doing that quietly with zero emissions, well, that just makes the whole experience even better, doesn't it?
It really does, and that's where things like this Fonz Z Series come in. They're aiming high. Let's unpack what they're claiming because it's pretty bold.
Okay, let's start with performance. This is often where electric options kind of fell short in the past, maybe.
Traditionally, yeah, but Fonz is swinging for the fences here. They're positioning the Arthur Z Series directly against 300cc petrol scooters.
Right, they call it a genuine 300cc class competitor. That's a serious claim. That category has some pretty punchy petrol machines.
It does, but the Z Series aims to match that feeling, that shove off the line, using pure electric torque, instantly.
So what are the numbers? How quick are we talking?
Get this, 0 to 50 kilometers per hour in just 2.3 seconds.
Wow. Okay.
And if you sign an off-road waiver, apparently that drops to an almost unbelievable 1.8 seconds.
1.8 seconds. That's
Yeah.
motorcycle territory almost. But okay, 0 to 50 is a stat. What does that 2.3 seconds actually feel like for a city rider? What's the real benefit?
Yeah, good question. It's about immediacy. That 2.3 seconds means you basically eliminate that slight lag you get with a petrol engine when you twist the throttle. So you can make those quick, decisive lane changes much more safely. You can zip ahead of cars at the lights instantly. It's less about outright speed and more about agility and control in busy traffic. Defensive riding, almost.
Gotcha. And top speed. Petrol usually wins there, right?
Often, yes. But the Z Series holds its own. It offers a continuous cruising speed of 100 kilometers per hour, and tests show it hits that mark.
So enough for short highway hops or faster arterial roads.
Exactly. And the reviews suggest it holds that 100 kilometers pretty comfortably. It doesn't feel like it's straining. That 11 kilowatt motor delivers smooth power.
Okay, performance sounds impressive. What about the rest of the bike? The design, comfort?
It looks good. Reviewers call it handsome, kind of Euro curves, but it's proudly Australian designed.
Yeah.
And they definitely thought about the rider.
How so?
Good ergonomics. They talk about a proper grown-up rider triangle, so you're not cramped. And, crucially, a generous flat footwell.
Oh, that's a big deal. Some scooters, even high-end ones like the Vespa GTS, have that big lump in the middle which eats into foot space.
Right. The Z Series avoids that. Even a tall rider, like a 187 centimeter mentioned in one review, had decent footroom.
And that flat floor relates to handling too, doesn't it? Because the battery's down there.
Precisely. The main battery is integrated into the floor section. That gives it a super low center of gravity.
Which means?
Fantastic handling. It feels really planted, stable, not just fun in the corners, but safer if you have to swerve or brake suddenly. That's a huge plus in unpredictable city traffic.
Makes sense. What about practical touches, little things that make commuting easier?
They've included some neat stuff. A reverse button, really handy for wiggling out of tight parking spots.
Oh, nice.
A loud horn, which you definitely need on a silent bike. And a lockable glove box with USB charging. Looks like both Type A and Type C ports are available.
Okay, so they've thought about charging your phone, parking,
Yeah.
the daily grind stuff, and braking. With that performance, it needs good brakes.
Yep, it's got dual-channel ABS. Reviews say the braking is excellent.
Uh,
Very reassuring.
Okay, so the performance is there. It feels like a proper competitor. But often with electric, performance comes at the cost of, well, practicality, range, storage, that kind of thing.
Exactly. And the sources really hammer home this core dilemma for Z Series buyers.
Yeah,
You have to choose between maximum storage and maximum range. It's a trade-off.
right. So explain that. How does it work?
Okay, the standard setup has a single battery built into the floor. With that, you get about 100 kilometers of claimed urban range.
Which in real-world mixed riding is probably...
More like 70 to 80 kilometers. Based on the tests, still pretty decent for most commutes.
Okay, but what's the upside of just the single battery?
Storage. Because the battery's in the floor, the space under the seat is massive, like genuinely huge.
How huge?
Fits a full-face helmet easily. Plus, gloves, maybe some groceries. One review even mentioned fitting a 10-pack of cans in there.
Okay, that is practical. That's often a weak point for scooters, especially smaller ones.
It's a massive win for daily usability. However, if you need more range...
Then you go for the dual battery option.
Right. You can get a second battery fitted. That pushes the claimed urban range up to 180 kilometers.
Impressive. But where does the second battery go?
Under the seat.
Ah, so you lose that massive storage space.
You do. That's the trade-off. Max range means minimal underseat storage. Standard range means cavernous storage.
But it sounds like you're not locked in forever.
Correct. The second battery can actually be added after you buy the scooter. And it's apparently easily removable, too. So if your commuting needs change, you can just take it out and get your storage back. That flexibility is smart.
Okay, let's talk charging. The main battery is fixed in the floor, you said.
Yes, the primary one is. So you charge the scooter itself. You don't take the battery inside.
How do you charge it?
Good news here, it comes standard with Type 2 fast charging capability.
Like an electric car.
Exactly the same plug. That's a pretty big deal for a scooter.
Why is that so significant?
Because it means you can use the growing network of public AC charging stations. You're not just limited to charging at home.
Right. How fast is it?
The claim is you can add about 100 kilometers of range in roughly an hour at a public Type 2 charger. So a quick top-up while you're grabbing coffee or shopping is actually feasible.
And home charging. Standard wall socket.
Yep. Plugs into a regular outlet, takes under 5 hours for a full charge. So easy to do overnight.
Okay. So this setup, with the fixed main battery and Type 2 charging, who is it really best for?
It's definitely geared towards people who have somewhere to plug the scooter in a garage, driveway, maybe secure work parking with charging.
As opposed to someone in, say, an apartment with no external power.
Right. For that situation, FONZ's other model, the Arthur 7, might be better. That one uses smaller removable power packs you can take inside to charge. The Z Series assumes you have access to plug the bike itself in.
Gotcha. And you mentioned highway capability earlier, 100-kilometer cruising. How far can it sustain that?
The test found it could manage about 50 kilometers of continuous 100-kilometer running before the low battery warning kicked in, and it went into a reduced power limp mode.
Okay, so definitely usable for jumping on the motorway for an exit or two, but not really for long-distance touring at high speed.
Precisely. It's primarily an urban and suburban weapon, but capable of short, faster stints when needed.
Okay, so we've got the performance, the practicality trade-offs. Now let's talk money and the green stuff, the why behind switching.
This is where electric really starts to shine, especially long-term. The upfront cost isn't trivial. It starts around $9,690 right away in Australia.
Yeah, that's quite a bit more than a typical 150cc petrol scooter, isn't it?
It is, but the key concept here is total cost of ownership, or TCO. You have to look beyond that initial purchase price.
So how quickly do the savings make up for that higher initial cost? Do the sources give a break-even point?
They do provide comparisons, mainly against premium petrol scooters. One analysis showed savings equivalent to nearly 1 lakh rupees, so thousands of dollars or pounds over just 4 years compared to a premium 125cc petrol model.
Where do those savings come from?
Primarily running costs. Electricity is just way cheaper than petrol per kilometer. The figures suggest an EV scooter costs about 16th to 18th as much to fuel as a petrol equivalent.
Wow, that's significant.
And it gets even better if you have solar panels. One reviewer mentioned charging from their rooftop solar, making their entire week's commute essentially free.
Which, in the current cost of living climate, must feel amazing, like cheating the system.
Absolutely. And then there's maintenance, which people often forget to factor in properly.
Right. Petrol scooters need regular oil changes, filters, spark plugs, engine tune-ups. It adds up.
It really does. You could be looking at, say, several $100s or pounds a year on average, plus the hassle factor.
And electric.
Way simpler, far fewer moving parts. No oil, no exhaust, no complex engine. Your main checks are basically brakes, tires, and making sure the battery is healthy. Minimal servicing costs, minimal time off the road.
Okay, the financial case over, say, 3-5 years looks pretty strong then. What about the environmental angle? There's always that debate about where the electricity comes from.
Yeah, the shades of green argument. It's a valid point. How clean is an EV if the grid relies on coal?
So what does the data say?
It's still a net win, even in the worst-case scenario. The figures suggest that even charging purely from a coal-heavy grid, an EV reduces overall emissions by at least 35% compared to a petrol vehicle.
Okay, so better, but not perfect.
Right. But if you charge using renewable sources like solar or wind-generated electricity, that reduction jumps dramatically up to 85% lower emissions.
And that's just tailpipe versus grid. What about the bigger picture?
Good point. The sources also touch on the life cycle emissions. EVs avoid all the energy needed for oil extraction, refining, and transporting fuel globally. Plus, crucially for cities, they produce zero direct emissions. No fumes, no noise pollution right where people live and breathe. That's huge for urban air quality.
So cleaner overall and much cleaner locally.
So beyond cost and emissions, there's the actual experience of riding electric in the city. It's fundamentally different.
You mean that instant acceleration we talked about?
That's a big part of it. That immediate torque, zero throttle lag. It just makes slicing through traffic, pulling away from lights, so much more seamless and, frankly, safer.
Yeah, you feel much more connected, more in control, maybe.
Exactly. While a big petrol scooter might still have a higher absolute top speed or longer range on a single tank, maybe 200, 300 kilometers.
Which the Z Series doesn't quite match, especially the dual battery version.
Right. But that gap is closing. And for pure city riding dynamics, the electric often feels superior now. But the really big difference, I think, is the tech integration.
How so?
Think of it like this. A petrol scooter is basically a sophisticated calculator.
Mm.
An electric scooter, especially a modern one like this, is more like a computer on wheels.
Okay, interesting analogy.
Yeah.
Computer versus calculator, meaning it's smarter, more potential.
Precisely. These EVs come with integrated software features that just aren't possible on a traditional bike. Things like auto hold.
What's that?
It automatically holds the scooter still on a slope when you stop without you needing to hold the brakes or feather the throttle.
Oh, that's brilliant. Anyone who's tried to hold a scooter on a hill start knows how awkward that can be.
It's a genuine quality of life improvement for city riding. Then there's Park Assist, using the motor to help you smoothly reverse out of tight parking spots.
Little things that just reduce daily friction.
Exactly. But the most crucial difference, the real computer aspect, is software updates.
Like with a smartphone.
Just like that. The scooter can receive over-the-air updates from Fonz Z. These aren't just bug fixes. They can actually improve the bike over time.
How? Like, what can they change?
They could potentially unlock more performance, tweak the throttle response, refine the ABS behavior, maybe even adjust the torque delivery based on real-world rider feedback. You're buying something that can evolve.
Whereas with a petrol scooter, if you want the latest improvements, you basically have to buy a whole new model year.
Exactly. The EV has the potential to get better after you've bought it. That's a fundamental shift.
Okay, that's a compelling point. Before we wrap up, were there any downsides mentioned? Any niggles with the Z Series?
A couple of minor things came up in the reviews. While the main dash display is good, the font size for some key data like the odometer remaining range trip meter was described as tiny. Hard to read quickly while riding.
Yeah, that could be annoying.
And surprisingly, one reviewer couldn't find a clock on the dash, which seems like a basic feature most commuters would want.
Odd omission.
Yeah.
Anything else?
This is a general caution, really, that applies to all EVs. Stick with reputable manufacturers, especially with batteries. You want something well-engineered and safe. The sources warn against cheap, imported knockoffs that might cut corners on quality and safety.
Good advice. Go with a known brand like Fonz. Hashtag tag outro. Okay, so let's try and pull this all together. What's the final picture here? The Fonz Arthur Z Series. It feels like a pretty tidy equation, doesn't it?
It really does.
It's genuinely fun to ride, thanks to that performance. It's hugely practical if you choose that single battery setup with the massive storage. It promises to be super cheap to run in the long term. And it's Australian-made, which is a nice bonus. It feels like a really solid reason for urban riders to finally make that jump from petrol to electric.
I agree. I think Fonz has really hit a sweet spot here. They've delivered premium 300cc level performance and features, but at a price point that, while not cheap, is arguably mainstream for a high-spec scooter. It forces you to rethink that whole segment.
So the big takeaway maybe isn't just about this specific scooter, but about how far electric tech has come.
I think so. The performance is now genuinely competitive with good petrol bikes in the city. It makes you wonder, is the most important long-term value in a vehicle shifting from its physical hardware to its underlying software and upgradability?
That is a fascinating thought to end on. Hardware versus software? For you, the listener thinking about your commute, the choice with the Z Series seems less about if electric is viable now and more about what you personally value more, that huge underseat storage or the absolute maximum range.
A pretty good choice to have.
Indeed. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to this deep dive on the urban scooter revolution. We hope it gave you some food for thought.
Yeah, hope it was useful.
If you want more curated knowledge and insights like this, please do follow the channel. We really appreciate you listening. We'll see you next time.